retaining people. So, but we did feel we came up with equitable agreement. So ask for first reading passage. Any questions? Yes.
Is the 10/1 implementation date, will we retroactively backdate pay for that?
Yeah, and I'm working with Ken Tellis on, because actually we've had some people leave in between there, and we're trying to work out whether those people get paid that additional or not. We don't think they do, but we're not sure.
Thanks, Mike.
Is there any further questions? Christine?
And then I know Marvin and I spoke earlier today that the judges are on board
Correct.
with this as well. And I'm good with it.
Okay. Any further questions? Thank you, Martin.
Thank you.
Next is 2025-002, Phil Montgomery to address council.
Thank you, Madam President. Phil Montgomery from the Executive's Department of Finance and Budget. We have two pieces of legislation before council. The first one is hopefully final year-end cleanup adjustments for 2024. The first section of almost $4.1 million. The $800,010 that is on here for purchase services is for Job and Family Services. And that was because of the trades that we do at year-end. We got a little more money that could come in for us to give to Children's Services. So we didn't know about it, so it wasn't appropriated in the last year. So we need to add that appropriation to transfer that money over. And the $3 million on claims is for employee benefits. For some of the newer council members, we pay Medical Mutual every Monday morning, and those claims can range from $700,000 to $2 million. And so we never know quite where we're going to be, and so we need this last little bit to shore up the end of the year payments that we made. The next section is just a net budget adjustment to move things between funds. The $6 million in transfers out, this is the year-end capital money, so as I look at where the general fund revenue finishes the year, this is the transfers outline is what we use to transfer money to the capital fund and things like that to fund the various projects that we're doing. So we're going to have an additional $6 million that we can transfer there. On page 2, fiscal office is doing appropriation adjustments that net to a little bit of an ask of $5,700. The DTAC fiscal is just an adjustment that nets to zero between the organ object combinations. Fiscal office advances out, so it's another one of those funds that's going from life to date to annual, and as we look to clear that up, we need to just front them some money, so this $75,000 will be immediately paid back into the fund in 2025, and so the total ask is $10,100,000, and as I said, hopefully this will be the final true-up adjustment for 2024. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Is there any questions? Thank you, Phil. Next is 2025-003, Phil Montgomery will address council as well.
So these are the 2025 appropriation requests for this cycle. The first one, we get a reimbursement for tuberculosis cases that has to get transferred to the health district, so we know what the amount is for 2023 cases. We need to appropriate the funds to transfer that money. The Transportation Improvement District, this is a fund that operates out of Community and Economic Development that is reimbursed from the state. And there is currently this is the cash available in that fund, and there is currently a bill due to the auditor estate, so we need to get that appropriated to pay that bill. The transfer for consumer affairs, so we collect in the foreclosure education fees, a certain portion of it by code is used for consumer affairs services, so this is the transfer of those funds out of the assessment fund into the consumer affairs fund for it to be used. Prosecutor administration, this $650,000. 3 years ago, council approved a gun violence grant for the prosecutor's office for 3 years. That's the $650,000. We would like, in lieu of renewing that grant, is just to put those 4 employees on their general fund. So we're appropriating the funds into their general fund to cover those people that were on the grant. It's the same dollars, it's just moving it to their general fund budget instead of a separate grant budget. On the next page, public defender, $1.1 million. From the time we proposed the operating budget to today, we've had some additional conversations with Andrea Whitaker about the needs in her office. So this is to fund Axon, which is a software for evidence review that the prosecutor's office is switching to, so she needs to bring her staff onto that same software. And we are approving the creation of a felony division in her group, and that should be The cost for that should be offset by a reduction in what we're paying for private attorney fees, so we're hoping that one will be a wash. So we're asking for $1.1 million in additional appropriation there. We have $400,000 for a change order for Western Waterproofing for the parking, to finish up the parking deck project someday. The next two sections are Children's Services. When we did their annual operating budget, they put all of their non-salary operating budget into one line. This is just reallocating those lines to where they go to cover the department, so it's a net zero. On the next page, we have, actually the last three are grants for the juvenile, Common Police Court, the Juvenile Division, and with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
There are no late filings, there is no routine legislation, there is no second readings, there is no third readings. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilwoman Christine Hyam, followed by a moment of silence. Roll call.
Mr. Smith. Ms. Hyam.
Here.
Mr. Donofrio. Mr. Cajun. Ms. Dickinson. Mr. Ford.
Here.
Mr. Wilhite.
Here.
Ms. Darrow.
Here.
Mr. Lacotte.
Here.
Ms. McKinney. Here. Ms. Walters.
Here.
Before we get started, we do have several members here today for public comments. Public comments, if it's not pertaining to the agenda tonight, will be heard at the end of council business. But I do have one here that, Pasolette, if you want to come on up, and you have several items here you would like to speak pertaining to the agenda. Yes. I apologize, I did it backwards a little bit.
Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year to everyone. I'm a preacher. I like a little more life. Okay.
Pasolette, just a reminder.
Yes.
You have 3 minutes.
Yes.
And could you please state your address?
Sure. 697 East Waterloo Road, Akron 44306. Good evening to everyone. And I'd like to acknowledge my husband of my youth, Stephen Karim Raymond, who I have not had access to because of the reason why I'm here this evening. I didn't know that 2025-02 and 03 had funding for children's services, and would you please note on my public comment that I am in opposition to that? 2025-02 and 03. I am in opposition to any funding allocation until they do right by me. 2025-7 and 9, the necessary amendments, economic development. I have been denied fair housing in my life, so I'm trying to figure out where the economic development is being allocated and to who. 2009, I would like black, brown, and multiracial Americans in that language, please. And the necessary amendment for 2510 is I am in opposition to any funding for Cleveland Clinic Foundation, period. Cleveland Clinic has sent me out the hospital half dead in domestic violence situations, etc. They keep putting false information about me in medical records, saying that I'm a schizophrenic and I'm bipolar for covering abuse. Prosecutor Golansky, his wife was a representative in the House of Representatives, and I was speaking there, and she was asking me questions pertaining to law enforcement and the failures and the flaws. Well, I'm here this evening because my children, my grandchildren, and I are currently victims of sexual and human trafficking. I dress for success. I'm denied equal opportunities under the law. And I did I put something together for you to see because I'm glad I didn't see any funding for the courts. And I was talking to Mrs. Golansky prior to the meeting because John Quinn, my children and I have been being human and sexually trafficked in Summit County Court since the tutelage of John Quinn, and papers have been filed. A judge in Marion County, Indiana, told one of my abusers to come to Ohio to proceed against me, that things are in place for him to do so and to get an order of protection against me, which I have abuse records of him all over the country. And I'm very concerned, as you all are planning legislation, who's getting the help? I was on the phone today with the Human Trafficking Division for APD, and I cannot call 911. So as you all decide what you're going to do with public defenders and the probation department, consider me in this process. I haven't broken any rules or laws. I have no criminal record, don't have any drug history, alcohol abuse, nothing. And I would like for you to take seriously what I give you into effect, and I appreciate you very much. Do you want me to give this to Mr. Galansky? Okay.
No, please give it to
Mr. Potter? Okay. And thank you so much. Have a happy new year. Okay. And I'm glad to be alive in 2025. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I need approval for minutes for December 9th, 2024. So moved. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motions for council. M1, 2025, a motion of council confirming the appointment of Larry Brown, replacing Chief Scott Cottle as alternate to Sheriff Candy Fothery to the Criminal Justice Advisory Board.
So moved.
I have a motion on N001-2025. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
M2, 2025, a motion amending the council rules by adding section 12.02 entitled Council Security, establishing certain security measures for council.
So moved.
I have a motion on M002-2025. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
First readings, 2025-1, a resolution approving a collective bargaining agreement between Ohio Council 8 and Local 1229 of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, AFL-CIO, Common Pleas Court, Adult Probation Department Unit, and the Summit County Court of Common Pleas General Division for the period of 10/1/24 through 9/30/27 for the Court of Common Pleas General Division emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2025-001.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2025-001 on the suspension. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
2025-2, a resolution appropriating funds in order to meet projected expenditures for the balance of 2024 as set forth in Exhibit A for the Executive's Department of Finance and Budget emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2025-002.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2025-002 on the suspension. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
2025-3, a resolution appropriating funds in order to meet projected expenditures for the balance of 2025 as set forth in Exhibit A for the Executive's Department of Finance and Budget emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2025-003.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2025-003 on the suspension. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
2025-4, a resolution authorizing the executive to advertise for bids and to enter into a cooperative agreement with Northfield Center Township concerning the Bayberry Drive drainage and roadway improvements project at an estimated cost not to exceed $1,060,900 with no county funds involved, located in Northfield Center Township in Council District 1 for the executive and the engineer emergency. 2025-5, a resolution authorizing the executive to execute an extension to the intergovernmental agreement with the City of Akron for the boarding at the Summit County Jail of misdemeanor offenders charged under a City of Akron ordinance or charged with contempt of an Akron Municipal Court judge for a term of 6 months from January 1, 2025 to June 30, 2025, and in an amount not to exceed $2,464,348.50 for the executive emergency. 2025-6, a resolution authorizing the executive to execute a grant agreement with the Greater Akron Chamber Foundation, GACF, to provide a local funding match to the State of Ohio's Innovation Hubs program grant for the Greater Akron Palmer Innovation Hub project for a 3-year term from 1/1/2025 through 12/31/2027, and in an amount not to exceed $250,000 per year for a total amount not to exceed $750,000 for the executive emergency. 2025-7, a resolution authorizing the executive, subject to the approval of the Board of Control, to execute a professional services agreement with the Greater Akron Chamber to provide economic development services, including but not limited to business attraction and retention, workforce growth, economic inclusion, and facilitation of economic development ecosystem initiatives from 1/1/2025 through 12/31/2025, and a total amount not to exceed $110,000 for the executive emergency. 2025-8, a resolution authorizing the executive to execute a lease agreement with Torchbearers, an Ohio nonprofit corporation for educational and/or charitable use for the executive emergency. 2025-9, a resolution declaring the month of February 2025 as Black History Month in Summit County, recognizing the incredible accomplishments made by Black Americans in the face of adversity, as well as acknowledging the challenges of the present for the executive emergency. 2025-10. A resolution authorizing the executive to execute amendments to grant agreements with the Cleveland Clinic Foundation and the Summa Hospital Foundation to provide additional funding for the implementation of the countywide Unite Us data sharing platform, and in an amount not to exceed $100,000 per foundation for a total amount not to exceed $200,000 of opioid settlement dollars for the executive, the Opiate Abatement Advisory Council, and the Key Stakeholders Group emergency. 2025-11, a resolution authorizing the executive to execute a sub-award agreement with Direction Home, Akron-Canton Area Agency on Aging and Disabilities to continue the provision of additional services to Summit County residents and continue one pilot program to assist older adults with aging in place from 10/1/24 through 12/31/25, and a total amount not to exceed $3,200,000 for the executive emergency. 2025-12, a resolution authorizing the executive to advertise for bids for non-emergency medical transportation providers for a 1-year term for an estimated total cost not to exceed $6,350,000 for the Executive's Department of Job and Family Services emergency. 2025-13, a resolution authorizing the executive to execute a grant agreement with the Akron Marathon Charitable Corporation in the amount of $35,000 per year for a 2-year period for a total amount of $70,000 for the executive emergency. 2025-14, a resolution determining to proceed with submitting the question of the issuance of library improvement bonds in the aggregate principal amount of $160 million to the electors residing within the boundaries of Akron Summit County Public Library pursuant to sections 133.18 and 3375.43 of the Ohio Revised Code emergency.
We have several members here to, for public comments. Right here, sorry. Let's see, first we have Audrey Tessie. Is she here? Come on. Audrey, you have 3 minutes, and could you please state your address?
Let's see. Wait, I'm sorry, what was the question?
Your address, and you have 3 minutes.
55 Fir Hill, Akron, Ohio, 44304.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I just wanted to briefly, like you said, my name is Audrey Tessie, and I am a counseling psychology doctoral student at University of Akron. And I just wanted to briefly speak about the $1 million bonds that are expiring next month. So since they are expiring, I was thinking about how this would presents the council with a very critical opportunity to reinvest those bonds in ways that really truly affect our community's needs and values. So I do want to commend the council for vocally expressing your intent on not to reinvest in these bonds, which have long been associated with supporting a country that continues to violate international and humanitarian law through its occupation and disregard for human rights. So we just do hope that you all uphold this pledge. And choosing not to reinvest in these funds does stand for justice, accountability, and also just for prioritizing our local community over the support of a rogue state whose actions undermine the principles of democracy and human rights that we do hold dear. So we're grateful to the council for taking a principled stand and recognizing the importance of aligning investments with our community's values. And we just hope that you will continue to lead with integrity by ensuring that this money is redirected into local initiatives and programs that uplift this and strengthen the county rather than perpetuate harm abroad. This money can be used to benefit the people in neighborhoods here in this community, which can help to build a future grounded in equity and compassion. Thank you.
We have David Guerin. David, you coming up? Sorry, David, you have to state your address and also, don't forget, 3 minutes.
David Garan, 682 Delaware Avenue, Akron. I'll be very brief. So as we come into a new administration, we're going to see that federal funding is going to be drying up as we continue spending outrageous amounts for military spending, almost $1 trillion to the Pentagon. And we don't know all the spending that goes to the CIA and the NSA and the 16 other intelligence agencies. So with all that, we need to end military spending to Israel. A genocide is occurring by the Israeli government. And we need a resolution from you guys stating the fact that this needs to end. Because you're going to need those funds that are being wasted. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Next is Norel.
Phaedra.
Yeah, I just figured it.
Sorry, I know, the pen died on me, sorry.
That's okay.
Yes.
I can tell.
All right. Good evening, council members. And for the record, I will state my name and my address again. It's Phaedra Norel, 1971 Liberty Road in Stowe. So, hi, I'm Phaedra. I'm a candidate with the Party for Socialism and Liberation here in Akron. And I'm here to speak regarding the maturation of $1 million worth of Israel bonds. These bonds mature on February 1st, and we implore you to please not reinvest them. These bonds now have a Baa1 rating from Moody's with an overall negative outlook on valuation. Additionally, the human impact of these invested dollars has never been more apparent. With Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, and Francesca Albanese, the UN Special Reporter on Palestine, reporting to the Human Rights Council, all concluding that Israel is conducting a genocide. In a testament of the cruelty that we are subsidizing, as of 12 hours ago, the death toll of babies frozen to death in Gaza has reached 8. The youngest of those babies is only 4 days old. Instead of investing our tax dollars into harming children abroad, we propose that we invest that money here at home. A recent report from Cleveland.com found that over half of children in Cuyahoga County are living in childhood poverty, and the conditions in Akron are not much better, with 34.1% currently in poverty. Those dollars that are invested in Israel could be used here at home to make a real lasting change for our communities. So thank you for your time, and free Palestine.
Next is, I want to say Duana Jafel. Did I get it? No. Jafel?
It's Dunya Jaffa.
Okay.
Hey, hello, my name is Dunya. I'm an organizer with the Akron Palestine Solidarity Collective in the Palestinian Youth Movement. So last June, you all made a verbal statement claiming that you will not reinvest in Israel bonds upon the maturity of our current investments. And I want to thank you for making that vow. And also want to reiterate the importance of implementing a written commitment to ensure that no future administration reinvests as well. This is not just about the current moment or getting a ceasefire, but it unfortunately goes far, far beyond that. Israel is a settler colonial state that has been committing ethnic cleansing and apartheid against the Palestinian people for more than 75 years. Their war crimes did not start at the current escalated genocide, and they will not stop with a ceasefire. Palestinians have been suffering at the hands of Israelis for decades, and any financial support sent to Israel goes to upholding that system of oppression that has made living impossible for Palestinians. So that money can instead be used here to invest in our communities. And I think that it is your duty to ensure that the county is both making ethical investments and also making decisions that represent the will of the people. So with the February 1st date approaching and the maturity of Israel bonds approaching, I am asking you as a Palestinian and a constituent of Summit County to please stand by your statement. Do not reinvest the $1 million, and please work with us to make the decision to not reinvest in Israel bonds final. Thank you.
I need you to state your address and
Ahmad Jadal, 6184 Westington Drive, Hudson, Ohio. Thank you again for letting me come speak. I think they've said it all pretty clearly. We appreciate what you guys are doing. We appreciate what you guys have said. The reason why we've come here is because obviously we know there's pressure from the pro-Israel lobby, and in terms of reinvestment, we've heard that they've tried to meet with people and say they wanted the decision to be reversed. So we don't mean to bother you, but we also want, again, it's a matter of trust, but verifying things. So we were hoping that we'd get a written resolution stating that county council does not want to see any more investment. I still would like that to happen. I appreciate that the staff of the fiscal office and Kristen have said that they're not going to invest, but we think that they can come and state that publicly. It shouldn't just be said to me. It should be said to everyone. And I think that would appease everyone, and maybe we wouldn't have to deal with this all the time. Secondly, I do want to, and I did meet with Greta about the NECBA resolution and education program, and is it okay if I share the meeting with them? Okay. And I was told within 5 minutes that I didn't have the votes for a NECBA Remembrance Day, and I was asked why, and she said that people have met with the executive's office, and might have met with people individually here from within the Jewish community, and said that they opposed it. So is that it? Does that mean that they oppose it, so we shouldn't educate people about a tragedy that happened? If I came in and said I opposed Holocaust education, you guys say, oh, we're not going to do that. That doesn't sound right. And when I asked why I was opposed, I really didn't get a clear answer. And I even asked if the Nakba, if they were Nakba deniers. I know there are people within the community who agree with us. You've heard them come speak in front of us. They're from the Jewish community. Their voices should matter also. They stand in solidarity with us. There's people that are not Palestinians stand in solidarity with us. And I want to know why we can't have this educational program when we sponsor other ones. I don't think I'm getting a good enough answer. And if there's people from within the Jewish community that think that that educational piece should not be discussed and that tragic history should not be discussed, why can't they come up here and speak publicly? I don't really care for it to be done behind the scenes. I've been brave enough to come speak to you publicly about this. Let them come and speak and say what their opposition is to it. And I think I know what the opposition is. There's a lot of people here that I know that are big funders of Israeli settlements and occupation, and they want it to continue. And they're worried if that story gets out, that it's not going to be allowed to continue, that people are going to ask questions. If I came here and told you, let's not talk about what happened to indigenous people here, none of you guys had anything to do with that, with what happened. But we teach that history. And the Jewish community in Akron had nothing to do with what happened to the Palestinians. Why would they not want that story to be told? So I'm asking and I'm imploring for you guys to be brave enough and take a lead. It shouldn't be that, okay, they said that, and a small portion of our community said no, so we're going to ignore another segment of our community. Should only one tragic story be told, and it's just our tragic story, and let's not listen to anybody else? How fair is that? So somebody please be brave and take a stand. I took the time out to write the resolution out for everybody. I've given references. I was even told no without anybody even looking at the program. How is that fair? Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Matthew, you're up next. Hi, Happy New Year.
69 East Waterford Court.
Oh, your address, yes, please.
Yeah, 1769 East Waterford Court. So yes, I come to also speak to encourage we not reinvest in the Israel bonds. Our pitch is very simple, and it's been consistent, which is don't invest in foreign governments, invest instead in Summit County. We know that Summit County has many problems. There's a lot of poverty here. There's a lot of homelessness in Summit County. The government has the power to at least mitigate or address these in a meaningful way. And so our pitch is very simple. We don't want money to go to states that commit ethnic cleansing. We really don't want money to go to any foreign governments. We want money to stay here in Akron. Now, last June, we got the pledge from county that they would not reinvest. And that is a very admirable pledge that they made, and we, of course, hope that you uphold that. And so we come every bi-weekly meeting. We take off of work, we come here. It's kind of onerous to be a working class person and come to a 4:30 meeting. But we do it because we want to see that this does not get reinvested. So again, our pitch is very simple. Don't invest in any foreign governments. Invest instead in Summit County, in Akron. Thank you.
Thank you. Anna Stevenson?
My name is Anna Stevenson. My address is 5694 Rhodes Road, Kent, Ohio. Hi, my name is Anna Stevenson, and while I am not a resident of Summit County, I have many peers who are. I'm here today to urge you to stay true to your word that you made in June and to not renew your investments in Israel bonds this February. By now, you are undoubtedly aware of the atrocities committed against the Palestinian people by the Israeli military. These atrocities continue to mount with each passing day, with now the International Criminal Court calling for the arrest of Israel's prime minister for war crimes and crimes against humanity. Credit rating agency Fitch has downgraded its rating of Israel bonds, giving the bonds a negative outlook. Moody's has also downgraded their rating, warning of a potential drop to junk bond status, and S&P Global's rating reflects this falling trend as well. All cite Israel's military activity as a primary reason. This is not a lucrative reinvestment, morally or financially. I encourage you to hold true to the commitment that you made verbally last June, and to take this as an opportunity to pour back into Summit County instead. Free Palestine. Thank you.
Did I get that right?
Yep.
Okay. The pen really didn't come through all the way, so I apologize. Could you please state your address, and also, please, sir, remember you have 3 minutes.
Yes. My address is 1110 Ellsworth Drive, Akron, 44313. On June 28th, 2024, IdeaStream reporter Anna Huntsman published an article titled Summit County Council Says It Has No Plans to Purchase More Israel Bonds Going Forward. The article contained the following quote from a Summit County Council meeting: "We all internally have talked and have no plans to purchase Israeli bonds going forward." I want to thank and applaud Summit County Council for expressing so clearly its commitment to stand firmly in support of the rule of law, international law, humanitarian law, U.S. federal law, and the natural law under which we humans exist as a global family. We are your constituents, and you, as Summit County Council, you act in our name. You are our best hope to do something courageous, exceptional, and fundamentally good on a scale that we can individually not achieve. On February 1st, $1 million of the bonds will expire, and I am anxious beyond measure to witness the good locally you will accomplish in keeping your word to us and to the world by not reinvesting or purchasing Israel bonds going forward. Thank you.
Joyce Penfield?
I have visual aid, and I'm temporarily disabled, so
Okay.
it's okay if she helps me.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
yes, absolutely.
Hi, I live at 247 Portage Lakes Drive in Akron, and it's wonderful to see friends and faces that I've known throughout the community. I'm here to ask you to be faithful to what you promised in June and to not invest in any Israeli bonds. You've heard many other arguments. I just came back from an entire November on an educational trip, meeting with Palestinians and other supporters in the West Bank. I was there for 4 months, 4 weeks. That's why, and I slipped in Ramallah, and that's why these 3 fingers are broken. I wanted to show you why I would like you to keep to that, besides these wonderful arguments, what you would be investing in. So this is probably the easiest to show you. This is a picture of what it's like to live for many, many years, for 2 decades now, in Bethlehem. Over there is Jerusalem, but you can't see it or go to it or get to it. There are many reasons. These 30-foot walls are everywhere. They go everywhere, and they consume territory that is not part of the 67 Green Line that was agreed upon in 1967. I have another visual aid of what those walls look like. It's kind of hard for my camera. Here's another one. This is what you face when you open your business, or maybe you don't have a business anymore because this wall came right through it. Or maybe you had olive trees and your olive garden, and all of a sudden, this wall is there and your olive garden is on the other side, but it was your property. To get over there, you have to go through a gate. We talked to people who actually live like this. To get through that gate, there has to be a soldier there to let you. If the soldier comes, you get to go. If not, you don't. You have to leave your passport and your identification, which is everything you need to get ever beyond these gates, with that person. And later in the day, they may let you come back. You cannot take somebody with you to help trim those olive trees. I'm just giving you some examples of what we encountered. This is what is the living situation of individuals who may not be in Gaza. They're in the West Bank. I thought I would be a little reminder of, and this is what your Israeli bonds would be investing in this way of life, in which to get from one point to another, you have to have a special ID card. There are dozens of them. If you're born in a certain place, you can't have that ID card. I have individuals I work with now who were born in Bethlehem. They cannot go to Jerusalem. They've never seen the Nativity Church. They probably will never. They can't get a permit. They were born in the wrong place. They can't go to certain places. If you go down the road for a certain while, there's a place, a gate. In order to get to that gate, which is guarded, you have to show the right permit. If you don't have the right permit, or even if you do, you're taken off and you're interrogated. If you're allowed through that gate, then you have to find a way to get back. These are simple day-to-life, not workable. It is not a workable system. It is not workable for anyone there. Anyone. The Israeli bonds does not lead to a way to help stop that or rethink that. It leads to a way to help grow that. And that growing can go in the same direction that we have now. Gaza. Picture of Gaza before. Gaza before. And Gaza after.
Dr. Penfield, if you would like to leave those drawings with Mark and we can look at them, we can get them back to you.
Sure.
Okay, but your 3 minutes are up.
Okay. Thank you very much for being people's conscience. This I can.
Next, we have Jeff Abode. Is it Bode?
Abood.
Abode. I was gonna say that one first, and I go, no.
Of Fiesta Pizza fame. Good evening, everybody. My name's Jeff Abood. I'm 2908 Vincent Road, Silver Lake.
Okay, thank you.
Good. I, like I imagine everybody here, am careful with my investments. I want to get the best return on my money. I don't feel Israel meets those conditions anymore. Their credit rating was downgraded twice by Moody's last year. Looks like it's headed that way again this year. I would suggest maybe instead of making not the optimal investment in something like that, maybe reinvest in America and rather than in any foreign governments, whether it's Israel or Canada or anybody. So that's all I have. Thanks.
Excuse me, Madam President. Mr. Abood, 923-1963.
Yeah.
Fiesta Pizza.
Yeah. How do you know that?
I know the number.
Yeah.
I'm a longtime customer. The very first Fiesta Pizza was on Monroe Falls Avenue.
Yeah.
And it opened in 1963.
That was my dad.
And the phone number, 923-1963, because that's when the very first one opened. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm voting for you.
He went there.
If no further business, we're adjourned.
That's pretty amazing.
I'm passing those.